They're racing in the Magic Millions. Skirt the Wall has taken over and kicked away. Skirt the Wall's in front, and Skirt the Wall's all too good. Skirt the Wall's won by length and a half.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Final Gallop. It is episode 265 and as always is proudly supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group and PlayUp. This week we're going to preview our runners for Saturday's Gateway Day at Eagle Farm as the summer racing carnival really heats up. Morning Tony, an exciting couple of days ahead with the Doomben Twilight meeting on Friday, Gateway Day at Eagle Farm on Saturday, and also the first meeting on the new course proper at Aquas Park, Gold Coast.
Yeah, good morning Claire, good morning everyone. It is an exciting weekend. Certainly the Gold Coast adds some really good intrigue. I'm sure where most eyes are never plastered down there when the Polly's in action, but a lot of eyes will be plastered on the Gold Coast this Saturday just to see how that new track plays. I'm sure it'll play really well. Yeah. Just the footage we've seen of those trials and gallops that have been on that track with that nice camber and that new grass, it looks amazing. So hopefully we'll have a couple of runners down there for that new day. It's going to be very exciting because then we don't race on that grass then until the wave meeting, which is part of that Magic Millions 2-week carnival. And then obviously this is a great weekend here in Brisbane. That Friday meeting at Doomben always gets a good crowd, plenty of Chrissy parties there, great atmosphere. That evening racing, which I think is fantastic at Doomben, starting at about 2 o'clock and finishing at 6. It's a great afternoon. And then the Gateway meeting at Eagle Farm. This will be the first horse into the Stradbroke, so it should be a very exciting weekend. Okay.
Now before we go on, we'll just rewind a few days. There was plenty of excitement in the stable with Zeus Style winning the Group 3 George Moore Stakes last Saturday.
Yeah, it was. He was. I guess he was kind of the punter's pal. I mean, I know Natuno started favourite, but he was heavily backed Zeus Style in the race. He was back to start before in the Swiss Ace, where he just had no luck. He was just wide on a track that there was certainly no advantage to be wide on that day. Maloney judged his ride beautifully on him, and his Doomben record, what's that, 7 from 8, I think now. Yeah, so his record's amazing there at Doomben, and he got the job done well. So really proud of him. Them good old horses that have been in the yard here for some time to still be winning Group 3s. Pretty proud moment, I think, for all the teams. So it was fantastic for Zooey. We had a lot of other good runners on the day. We did. And as we move forward to this part of the carnival now. Okay. On to Saturday's Gateway meeting at Eagle Farm. The rail will be in the true position. The track is currently a good 4 with mostly sunny days ahead. The track is going to need a lot of water with this hot weather and no showers forecast, you'd think. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's been bloody warm here this week, and I know summer's underway, but she's been a hot start to summer this week. But the track's in great nick. We got a little shower Tuesday morning just before track work, which just had a lovely surface there. I just noticed on Tuesday when we galloped on that course proper, it's the first gallop back out there since they've done that little reno. They've given it a little bit of a break and give it a late spring reno. And they just towed into it a touch. It's not as thick as what it was prior to the reno, and that's the idea of it. Yeah. But the surface itself looks amazing. It's a beautiful cover of grass on it. And look, we all know how well Eagle Farm's raced, particularly the last 6 months. It's been fantastic. So I'm sure we're going to get a ripping good surface and a track that really has played bugger all by us. So we get a lovely rail position. I think horses are going to have to get the right runs in transit to win. There's no doubt it'll be good ground, but it's not the good ground we were seeing at Eagle Farm from 12 months earlier.
We will start our preview with race 2, which is the Summer Provincial Series Final, a no metro wins in the last 2 years handicap, run over 1,300 metres. Miss Tambo will run in this. She'll carry 53.5 kilos. Ben Thompson rides barrier 13. With PlayUp, she is paying $6 to win and $2.25 for the place. She did win at Doomben over the 13.52 starts ago. Then last start was a strong finishing third at the same track and trip. She is good over the Eagle Farm 1,300 metres earlier this prep, so that shouldn't be an issue.
No, it shouldn't be. She's probably one of our best placed horses all weekend. This is a unique style race, which we didn't win one of the qualifiers, but we're able to still get into the field, which is good. The conditions this race is perfect for her. She has some very good form around her. She's been racing some really good races, and the form around her is very strong for this greater race. So the barrier doesn't help, but she barely draws a good gate.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, I guess Benny Thompson will just probably find a spot somewhere in the second half of the field and just try and suck up and produce her late. Previous prep, she hadn't loved Eagle Farm, but her run at Eagle Farm a few runs back was outstanding when Black Max just beat her home. And I think that's very good form for this race. So provided we get a little bit of luck from our draw and we can tack on the back of the right horses, she's got the right form to win this. Okay.
Race 4 is the listed Calaway Girl for the 2-year-old fillies over the 1,000 metres, a race you've won twice with the Ladies Night and Outback Barbie. Barbie's sister will race in this with 56.5 kilos. Jimmy Orman rides barrier 1. With PlayUp at the moment, she is paying $2.15 to win and $1.28 for the place. She was a short price favourite on debut after a 7th length trial win and just got tired late and was run down. She is now trying to emulate her big sister, Outback Barbie by winning this race.
Yeah, I think you can use that first run as barrier trialish. I know she went there with the boom on her, and rightfully so. Her trial was outstanding. There was always a bit of caution of the 650 trial. She just executed that race at the Sunny Coast a bit like she was in a bit of a hurry, a bit like the 650s, and therefore she was just vulnerable late.
Yeah.
I thought her effort was good because she ran very solid sectionals early in the race, and she was a sitting shot for a horse to come from the back. She needs to conserve her energy a bit better here. She was magnificent out on the course proper on Tuesday morning. She's just in a really good shape. She's taken a good step on from that first up run. She'll present in terrific condition on Saturday, there's no doubt about that, and you're going to see a lot better filly for having had that race start. We see that with 2-year-olds all over the place.
Yeah.
Once they've had a run,
Yeah.
they can obviously perform well fresh up, but the improvement off a race is
Absolutely.
is there to be seen, and particularly ours. So I think you'll see a lot better version of her than what you saw at the Sunshine Coast. The low draw is a big plus for her. She'll be able to follow a rail,
Yeah.
find a way around. Whether she leads or she's just there, it doesn't really bother me. She's undoubtedly a very good chance here.
Okay, we'll move on to race 6, which is the listed Bribie Handicap over the 1,000 metres. You've had 2 winners of this race, pure perfection, and last year was Sneaky 5. We have 4 runners this year. We'll start with All That Pizzazz. He'll carry 53.5 kilos, Ben Thompson on board, barrier 9. He's paying $7 to win with PlayUp and $2.50 for the place. He was a hidden run last start, went 6th in the Keith Nowt after getting back and wide. Back to the 1,000 metres here, a distance he's won 3 from 6 and gets his Wheatwood winning jockey Ben Thompson back on board. And Ben has a pretty good record on him, 8 starts for 4 wins in 3 seconds.
Yeah, Ben's ridden him the most of all jockeys, knows him quite well. His run the other day was terrific off that bit of a freshen up that he had. He had no luck in running, he come wide, yet he still recorded the second quickest sectional of the race behind Comrade Rosa in that race. She was the quickest sectional. She's come out and won since. So it's definitely the right form, I think, for this race. He gets in nice at the weights. Obviously the top weight's a very good horse. He had that bit of an issue with cardiac arrhythmia at the Sunshine Coast. That's Prince of Boom I talk about. He's been back in trial since. And, look, I guess if he's really on song, he's a testing material, but there's a lot of pressure in this race.
Yeah.
There's 4 or 5 horses going to go along at a good gallop. If All That Pizzazz can begin and Ben can find that lovely spot just behind that speed, he's going to be the strong horse lady. Sectional indicated that the other day off a really wide run. We know he likes Eagle Farm and he's very good at this track and trip. So I think he's a huge chance in the race. In fact, I think he's over the odds. I wouldn't be surprised if he started shorter.
Okay. F Troop will carry 53.5 kilos. Damien Thornton will ride him. He is drawn barrier 8 with PlayUp. He is paying $7.50 to win and $2.60 for the place. Last start when he was first up, he charged home for 3rd in the Swiss Ace Plate over the 1,000. His second up form is usually, or quite often, the best in his prep, and he's had 3 weeks between runs, so he still has some freshness in his legs for the 1,000.
Yeah, he's definitely fresh enough for the 1,000. You just wonder whether the 1,000's a touch short for him second up, and we'd prefer to go to 6. Purely the way that he's racing now, he's finding his feet a little bit early, getting into his stride, and he's really strong home, which that's what we saw first up in the Swiss Ace. He was arguably the run of the race. And the Tuno was dominant in that race, and Zoustyle finished 4th, I think, just behind him, or just beside him. He come from well back. He just struggles to stay in touch in the Swiss Ace. I just hope second up he can stay in touch. If he can, he's going to be really flashing home late here. The race sets up well for horses that map where he maps, I think. There's enough pressure up front for F Troop. Provided he can travel, he can finish off. I'm not going to lie, I'd be probably more confident this was 1,200.
Okay.
But I think he's done well enough, and he certainly feels fresh enough to run well.
Okay. Next one we'll talk about is Osamu. He'll carry 53 kilos. Robbie Dolan rides barrier 13 with PlayUp. He's paying $18 to win and $5.50 for the place. Just missed 2 starts ago in a good open quality race, but was found out late last start in the Swiss Ace Plate. He has a very good record at this track and trip though.
He was very good in the Swiss Ace. He sort of led the fence by default. We wanted to take hold and let that speed come across, and just the way Marty Harley was just sitting deep on Prince of Boom, he didn't want to cross.
Yeah.
He forced Osamu to have to kick up, and he just did too much work in that grade.
Yeah.
He's far better placed here under handicap conditions than what he was under those set weights and penalties. So he gets in this race better. He's just disadvantaged by that draw. He's just one of those 4 or 5 that are going to be up there punching the speed. He's a very quick horse out.
Yep.
The idea is to use his speed. There's not much else you can do with him, I think, over this. He's got a very good record at Eagle Farm over the 1,000. He'll be right there. I just worry about him the last 100. Okay. He's certainly going to be there to the 100.
Yeah.
And it just depends, I guess, on what sort of run he gets prior to that. Will he be there late?
Okay. Fourth one is Situation Room. He'll carry 53 kilos. Angela Jones will ride him. He's drawn barrier 4. With PlayUp, he's paying $15 to win and $4.60 for the place. Just missed a place in the week with 2 starts ago and then got well back last start in the Swiss Ace Plate and never got clear running in the straight. He has a pretty good draw in this race for Ange though.
Yeah, he does. He was a hidden good run in the Swiss Ace. He got tightened up early, and if you watch him after that, he really didn't get into his stride. They poured the speed on it, and it like he was just struggling to get moving after that bit of tightening. I think he was just in such an such a foreign position for what he's used to, and he really didn't know how to handle it or how to take it. Once he got into his rhythm, he was making really good ground with limited space in the running. So his run was a hidden good run. I'd expect him to step and be much closer here. He's going to be right on the back of that good speed. He's got brilliant speed himself, so I'd be really happy to use that and just sit on the back of it. I can't see him being any further back than 3rd or 4th here.
Okay.
If he obtains that run and he travels comfortable, he's a huge improver. On top for me in these, I think it's All That Pizzazz and F Troop, with a slight leaning to All That Pizzazz, just slightly. But I think both those two Spirit of Boom gallopers will run really, really well here, particularly if there's as much pressure as I anticipate.
Okay. Race 8 is the gateway for 4-year-olds over the 1400 metres with the winning connections to receive a slot in the Group 1 Stradbroke. You did win this race last year with TikTok Queen, and this year you have 7 runners in the 16-horse field. Standing order, we'll start with him. 57 kilos, Ben Thompson rides barrier 5. With PlayUp, he's paying $10 to win and $3.30 for the place. 2 wins and a close second in his first 3 starts this preparation, and last start 1 from the front at the Sunshine Coast over 1200 metres. He did win dominantly over 1350 last prep, so we know the trip really won't worry him.
No, trip won't worry him. I will pick up something here. Lockie's missed something. He doesn't miss much, the script rider here behind the camera. Vega 1 won this race. He won the inaugural gateway. So,
Vega.
Like a good horse can win this race, and I'm hoping we can get another Vega 1 type to come out of it. Back to standing order, I agree. He got the 1350 dips, which that day they went 100 mile an hour. And then his next run he failed here at Eagle Farm. It was over 1400. But I think he was set up to fail from that previous run. So off a fresh slate, this preparation with his he's been good.
He has.
All his runs have been great. He got the only defeat out of the 3 runs he had this time in was basically from the barrier. He sat 3 deep that day and he should have won. He narrowly got beat run second. His runs have been terrific. 1400, it looks an ideal trip for him. His biggest negative is he just dwells to start occasionally and puts himself in a sticky position where if he can just begin a bit kinder, Ben can just hold a spot in the first 4. This, for a big field of 4-year-olds, I mean, that's probably what will generate speed. There's not a whole lot of natural speed horses here. So if he can settle in the first 4 and get there comfortably, and there's no doubt he relaxes. I think he ran the slowest early 3 furlong splits at the Sunshine Coast, and the day he won first up, he did the same thing. He led at 1200, and he's just got a picnic in front. He's happy to come back and relax. So he's not an aggressive horse, so he's given himself every chance to get this 1400. But I just want him to step and just find a spot in the first 4. If he does that, they'll back the speed down. I think the on-pace horses in this race are going to get every chance.
Okay. Count to Beans will carry 57 kilos. Damien Thornton rides barrier 1 with PlayUp. Beans is paying $11 to win and $3.50 for the place. He is second up into this after a strong finishing first up over the 1200 metres, and he did win over the 1350 last prep as well.
Yeah, well, he desperately hopes that Chris Hurley here will leave the sprinklers on all night up until probably the first race. Try and flood the joint, because he definitely wants a soft track. But his first up run on very good ground at Sunshine Coast was brilliant. Had them storms have hit that night, he would have been a different story. He'd be going into this with a 1 beside his name, I'm adamant. His work since has been great. You love that bit of cut in the ground Tuesday morning, and I really hope they're still getting their toe into the track here. And this surface is so much better now than when he's ever raced on it. So he's one of those horses that don't possess the early speed. He'll be somewhere midfieldish, just minding his business. Damien had a ride him the other day, which I think is a big plus. I can see him attacking the line hard. This 7 furlong is what he wants. He's got the right form. If you go through his overall form, he's got the right form to win the race, and he's actually over the odds.
Okay, the third runner is Freedom Rally, who's tucking into his breakfast there. He'll carry 57 kilos. Jimmy Orman rides him, barrier 10. Freedom Rally is paying $3.10 to win and $1.55 for the place with PlayUp. Was strong first up over the 1200 metres late, giving 3.5 kilos to the winner. The winner has since franked the form with a dominant win last week. 2 out of 2 second up and 1 dominantly at this track and trip last prep.
Yeah, track and trips his go here, 1400. The whole prep has been designed to be here second up. So the first up run off a wide draw, we had to go back, put him to sleep. He was a bit reluctant to come back to, which he can be. and the face got needs time, got up front and off it went. We run on really, really well behind it. Made many lengths up.
Yes.
He'll get much love there run on speed here. He'll sit in the first 3 pairs.
Okay.
Got no doubt about that. He'll certainly be rolling forward from his gate, try and find cover on speed. If he can lob into there, which I expect him to, he's going to run a huge race here. 1400 suits him. It'll be like winding the clock back with the Vega 1 colours. The people around the stage, the Vega 1 colours there. If he can posse up in the first 3 pairs, he's the horse they've all got to beat.
Okay. Fourth one is Warby, 57 kilos, Robbie Dolan, barrier 9. With PlayUp, Warby's paying $21 to win and $5.50 for the place. He flew home last start to win at Doomben over the 1350 and did win over the Eagle Farm 1400 metres before, but this is a bit tougher.
Track and trip suits him, but he's come out of good races, a younger horse in Sydney, so I'm not adamant that he can't handle the class rides. In fact, I think he can.
Okay.
He'll just have to go back and switch off. He'll be midfield or worse here. Just relax back, and he's only got that short sprint. We had to expose him much earlier at Doom than what we'd like to. He's still got the job done late, so he's going to need a bit of a ride here. Robbie's going to have to bide his time. He can't take off wide and early on him. It just won't work. He's got to just pop back in worse in midfield, suck up through them. Who knows? He could be another TikTok queen.
Yeah.
As things are moving around, he'll really savage the line, this horse. Eagle Farm 7 furlongs his go. He's just got to get the right drag into the race.
Okay. John Rambo will carry 57 kilos with Ryan Maloney on board, barrier 4. With PlayUp, John Rambo's paying $11 to win and $3.50 for the place. A strong winner last start when first up in a Class 1 over the Doomben 1200. Certainly bred to get the 1400 metres and a nice draw.
Real X Factor horse.
Yes.
His sectionals the other day, his ratings were through the roof when he won a moderate midweek, but the way that he won it was very impressive. His biggest problem is himself. He's just got to switch off.
Yeah.
He wants pressure to build here. He wants them all to believe there's not much speed in this race and pressure to build into it.
Yep.
If he can be buried away midfield with cover, he can really run a race here. Something similar to what we saw in the midweek. Just 3 back the fence, just forget you're in the race. Make sure he relaxes, because if he can relax the first half, or at least until the 600, he'll just pull himself into the race from there. So he's definitely got the talent, this horse. He's a really talented horse. The jury's out still for me on the 1400. Pedigree wise, yeah, he should definitely run it. He's just got to give himself the chance to.
Okay. Deer Trail will carry 57 kilos, Justin Huxtable in the saddle, barrier 3. He's paying $26 to win and $6.50 a place. With PlayUp, finished as good as any last start over the 1200 metres behind stablemate winner Standing Order. That suggests the 1400 metres should suit him, even though it's his first go at the trip.
Sectional star on the day. His last furlong was as good as anything. I think the best of everyone at the Sunshine Coast meeting off that big break. 1400 suits. His work since been brilliant. Can't fault him. I think people forget how good a horse he was at one stage. He was prepping to be a really nice horse. Had a long time off the scene. He didn't come back as good as what he could last prep. So he had that big break, and he's absolutely flying. He's way over the odds. He's another one that'll be just back off them a little bit and running on. But I expect to see him really charging late.
Okay, and the last one is Sunset Soiree, 55 kilos, Angela Jones on board, barrier 18. She is another one that never draws a good gate. With PlayUp, she's paying $21 to win and $6 for the place. She did win 2 in a row at the 1800 at Eagle Farm before this, including a dominant last start victory. She dropped significantly in trip, but she's had a month between runs to freshen up.
Yeah, she's freshened up beautifully, the horse, there's no doubt about that. Barrier's a huge concern for her. She'll be back in the second half of the field running on, but I'd imagine with the work she'll have to do from that gate, it's going to be hard for her. She's on her way, hopefully, to the Gold Coast to run in that wave meeting.
Okay.
So, look, I think gate 23 may have sealed her fate on the weekend.
Okay, how are you splitting the 7?
I think it's tricky. I think there's 3 or 4 there that are very, very close together. I won't shy away from the favourite, Freedom Rally. I think he makes use of his middle draw. He can posse up and find a good spot. I thought his run was good enough first up, knowing how he improves into a prep. I think he's probably the horse they will have to beat, but I don't think the chances end with him. I think we've got a really strong team in this race. I'll be surprised if some of our horses aren't fighting that finish out.
Now we'll move on to race 9, which is the benchmark 80 handicap over the 1200 metres. Self-indulgent runs, 58.5 kilos. Ryan Maloney rides her from barrier 13. With PlayUp, Selfie's paying $8.50 to win and $2.90 for the place. She was okay first up in a stakes race over the 1200 metres, and she does always improve second up, and she does drop in class.
Yeah, her run was actually quite good. She's improved significantly, always does in the second up run. Would I rather her around Doomben? Maybe. But she's very well. She's back to the right grade. The wide draw suits her because she likes to be outside horses or in front of them. She doesn't love to be in amongst them. She's just a bit of a weirdo like that, I guess. And that's very noticeable if you watch the video late in that first up run. As soon as something got down the outside of her, she really sucks back, and then she finds the line again well late. Her work's been terrific. Ryan knows her well. She'll just punch forward on speed. Massive improver, possibly over the odds.
We're on to the final furlong of this week's Final Gallop. Who is your best winning chance at Eagle Farm on Saturday?
I think I'll stick with the market assessment here. I think Barbie's sister.
Okay.
I've been wanting to see that improvement out of her since that first up run. It was 3 weeks ago. I think it's a lovely 21 days into this, and what I saw Tuesday, I'm very happy with her. I think she, and the low draw, massive plus. She drew wide the other day. I had to sit outside, an absolute pest in running, where she'll just find that fence today, and on Saturday, and the race can work itself out. But I think she's the one.
Okay, your best each way chance?
I think we've got a heap of good each way chances on the day. I could say Miss Tambo. I think she's beautifully placed, but I won't. I'll go with All That Pizzazz.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't run top 3 in the Bribie.
Okay, and your best winning chance at Doomben, Twilight meeting on Friday?
Got a wedge of good chances at Doomben. A couple of first starter. We've got a couple of good chances, but I'm going to go with one you saw at the midweeks the other day, who's still much better than midweek grade horse, Bezique.
Okay, Bezique, yeah. And we are back to the glitter strip for the Gold Coast Provincials on Saturday. Who is our best chance for you there?
Yeah, I don't know how many we'll have at the Gold Coast, just due to the restricted field sizes, no splitting of races, etc., and what we got in the ballot. But I'll go with one that I know will get a run. I thought she was very impressive in a maiden, Rose Noir.
Okay.
It's a reasonably good Class 1 plate, I will say that. I don't know what price she'll come up, but I'd be shocked if she doesn't run top 3.
Okay, your best track worker this week?
Barbie's sister, really impressed with her. Her and Bezique worked together on the course proper, and it wasn't the speed they went at, it's the way they executed the work. And I thought she was brilliant, 2-year-old out on a course proper like that.
Yeah.
You know, with a really nice working filly. So I thought she was good. Deer Trail, very good as well. So there were some really nice workers there. Freedom Rally was brilliant as always. He looks like $1 million that horse. So had a lovely bit of work out on that Eagle Farm course proper Tuesday. But Barbie's sister was the one I was really impressed with.
Okay, and your performance of the week from the stable?
Oh, Zooey. How could you not? Pretty proud of him. You know, I've had him since he was a baby. Couldn't go into the nominated for 2 sales and couldn't get there due to leg issues with him, and to have him still winning group races at 8.
Yeah, it's a
really proud of him. Yeah. So Zoo Style, the king of the castle this week.
Absolutely.
And most weeks, really.
Yes, go Zooey. Okay, now courtesy of PlayUp, it is the stable special offer for the week, and it is $4 for a Gollan runner to win the Bribie. Any of the 4 runners that we do have engaged.
Yeah, great idea. I took this PlayUp special last week with my PlayUp account. It got me 50 on and won me $100, whatever it was, 150 back. So it was beautiful. So thanks to Timmy and the boys at PlayUp for that one. I like the $4 here. My 50 will be on again.
Okay,
off we go.
Okay, now it is time for Cav's Corner, which is supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. No joy for him at all last week. Anyway, he has regrouped and done his form for a big Friday and Saturday. Let's see what he's got for us.
Welcome to Cav's Corner for this week. This week we'll venture to Eagle Farm. We'll go All That Pizzazz place into Deer Trailer place. Good punting, guys.
So he's gone All That Pizzazz place into Deer Trailer place. He's gone back to his place multi.
Yeah, it's been a proven thing
formula,
for him. Yeah. I do agree that Deer Trail's really over the odds. He's really over the odds in this race, and Huxtable's on him. He's not a rider that rides for us much. Obviously, with 7 runners in a race, we've got to go outside of our normal, but he's riding very well, and he's a good strong whip rider, which will suit this horse well. So I feel off the low draw, he'll be really powering home. So look, his multis is as good a chance as any. I probably would have went All That Pizzazz into Miss Tambo the place.
Okay.
Got a place multi, but I don't not like his multi. I know Bailey is tipping Deer Trail. I don't know whether that helps him or not, but he's definitely tipping.
Probably not. Okay, good luck for a big 24 hours, Tony. Plenty of festive cheer at Doomben tomorrow, and hopefully plenty of joy at Eagle Farm and the Gold Coast on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a great weekend. Anyone who's in Brisbane this weekend, you want to come out to the races Friday and Saturday. They're just 2 really good days.
They are.
They're a ton of fun, and there's plenty of nice horses racing. So enjoy your weekend, everyone, and hopefully many winners.
Okay, best of luck to everyone.